Monday, our sovereignty here in the US was being discussed about to be handed over to unelected non-governmental officials. Who? No, like the WHO. Now, during this time, the WHO plus governing states were discussing allocation of power during times of pandemics in the future, leaning in the direction of unelected non-government bodies and people within the organizations. Wait a second, isn't that full of elites like Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, etc.? Yup. Reminder, who was it that saw their finances skyrocket during this whole pandemic whilst all of the average everyday people and pretty much everybody else suffered? Big pharma, media, and big tech, people like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Klaus Schwab, Anthony Fauci, etc. Many of those people happen to be a part of the World Health Organization. Oh, that's right. Now, the WHO has been trying to make the point for a while now that since everybody handled it differently, that we all need to handle it the exact same. Now, when I say it, I'm referring to pandemics and lockdowns, etc. Now, last I checked, many or most countries actually did pretty much the same thing, and only a select few countries like Sweden or a handful of African ones did it differently. And Sweden actually was one of the ones that had the least amount of COVID-based issues. Now, one of the African countries I read about a while back, at least in the past year or two, they didn't follow any procedures or lockdown policies like the US or other big Western first-class societies did, and they actually ended up turning out pretty well, even better than we did, which is pretty funny. Regardless, many countries of the world, especially big ones, followed their China-styled or inspired lockdowns. Just ask Anthony Fauci. Now, China had the strictest lockdowns and said it was going to be the best way to prevent it all, right? But in actuality, it really didn't do much of what they said it did. In actuality, way more people died than they should have. Oh, better be quiet, otherwise the Chinese government's going to censor me or blacklist me, take me out, etc. That's how it would be if you were to say that stuff in China. And it was kind of like that here in the US too. You'd be blacklisted, censored, etc. if you said stuff like that before. And all you're doing is just simply expressing distrust in government bodies. Kind of weird, isn't it? Doesn't seem like infringement on freedom of speech at all, right? But all joking aside, the WHO doesn't really have much room to talk, given the fact that their draconian-based policies didn't really work in this last pandemic. So again, remind me why we should give them, a non-elected, non-government group, such powers of control over future ones. This is their demand / wants out of this whole discussion, by the way. Define the next pandemic. Define pandemic. Last I checked, they defined themselves. I don't really think that we need unelected non-government officials to tell us that, right? Determine lockdowns. Surveillance power. Surveillance power? Why would they need that? Determine treatments. Vaccine mandates. Vaccine distribution. Vaccine IP and profits. Redistribution of everything. And change use of land. Remind me again, why does this non-government, unelected group need this power? Seems kind of more like a power transfer from public officials to privatized companies. Just a little bit, doesn't it? Now, here's a draft list of what everything entails. Pathogen with pandemic potential means, One Health approach means, One Health surveillance means, infodemic means, inter-pandemic means, current health expenditure means, universal health coverage means, and recovery means. Now, when I heard and read the word infodemic, it did not sit right with me at all. Like, to me, it sounds like they're trying to make a pandemic out of certain info. And that's just another form of fact checking, or as it used to be called, thought policing, which was proven to be very wrong. It's just really fucked up. They're trying to give us inoculations against info, of all things. Imagine using that word, inoculations. It's almost like they've been trying to use it more and more ever since the truth has been slowly releasing out to the public and just exposing itself about all the bullshit of this pandemic that played out. Now, tyrants/dictators do this stuff, this thought policing, or as it's called now, fact checking, to keep control/power over the masses. This is what Hitler did in World War II, by the way. Now, remind me, why do we need to do this? Now, mind you, if they got all this power and we all did things the exact same, imagine what would happen if they screwed up and their plan didn't work. Wouldn't that, I don't know, fuck over a lot more people than if we all had different ways of handling things? Now, you know what the WHO said would screw us all over? If you guys didn't hit that like button or smash the shit out subscribe button yet. They really think that would be some bad news if you guys didn't do that. All joking aside though, it really does help us out here whenever you guys do this, and also helps to get us further up in the algorithm so we can get this information out to even more people. So let them know it's okay to question these things and to hear what's actually going on, unbiased and unfiltered. 1,000,000% real. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right back on into the video. Again, not elected by we, the people. And this would have serious impacts on our personal, private, and daily lives. Serious implications and influence, for sure. Do you want them, the WHO, to have control over your personal life and what you do? Especially when we did not elect them? Let me know in the comments section down below. In the words of Klaus Schwab plus the WEF, you'll own nothing and be happy about it. It literally says in the documents that they were bringing up and discussing for this meeting that they will control or direct things. Central role of WHO as the directing and coordinating authority on global health and the leader of multilateral cooperation in global health governance. WHO is fundamental to strengthening pandemic prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery of health systems. Now, it literally says that they'll be at the center and controlling/directing things. In this documentation, they also talk about sharing tech for vaccines as well too. But if I remember correctly, many of those people in the WHO who privatized vaccines and their licenses during the pandemic didn't want to share that knowledge/tech with other countries, especially poorer ones, even if they showed and proved that they had the technology capable of reproducing them, unless they had money.
Hello, I like money.
Which poorer countries should have gotten them first, given the fact that they have poorer living conditions, which means less sanitary ones than like here in the US or Britain, Europe, etc. Oh, wait, they didn't. That then resulted in more deaths because their primary focus was more on money. Now, here's another one of their concerns: addressing gender disparities and inequalities within the health and care workforce to ensure meaningful representation, engagement, participation, and empowerment of all health and care workers while addressing discrimination, stigma, and inequality and eliminating bias, including unequal remuneration, and noting that women still often face significant barriers to taking leadership and decision-making roles. Now, why is this really a concern? Realistically, the big concern would be about getting help to those in need and helping those that are sick during a pandemic. Now, maybe their first pandemic that they guided wouldn't have gone so bad if they hadn't sat there and coerced people into getting proven experimental vaccines by threatening to fire them if they didn't comply. That's against the Nuremberg Code, which was made after Nazi Germany and is international law, and against some states' health and care acts as well too. Now, I will never ever discourage or be against a variety of people from different backgrounds and cultures, you know, being in a workforce of any sort of kind. It's a nice, refreshing thing to have, and especially in leadership positions. But there's nothing wrong with having a lot of women working in healthcare-based professions, like being nurses or EMTs. In fact, the more in touch with the feminine and within that somebody is, it's not really uncommon for them to take some form of a caretaker-like profession. And aren't many women out there in touch with that divine feminine energy? So it wouldn't really be uncommon for a lot of them to take those roles. And it's psychologically proven to be a thing too, to be fairly common. Now, I love nurses of different backgrounds, sexes, races, etc. But if I'm pretty sick in the midst of a pandemic, my main concern isn't really going to be focused on that. It's more on the fact of me being treated decently and getting treated to be not sick anymore. Now, wouldn't you want that for yourself and others too? Let us know your thoughts on what priorities should be during times like those in the comment section down below. Now, I've seen this quite a few times before, and this is generally how it starts out, especially with these bigger entities slash elites of the world. They portray it as being for diversity, but it often comes with an ulterior motive or a hidden agenda to serve them under that, or to promote it in such a way that it's going to make them money or profit. Like with the Black Lives Matter organization. Now, I don't have a problem with the movement, so to speak, but the organization I do, and the reason why is because if you dig and do some research on their president and what she does with the money, it's pretty crummy and doesn't really go to help Black communities. And it's also the same for things like Black History Month and Pride Month too. Like, it's generally used by these huge monopolies or businesses, entities, etc. to generate a buttload of fucking money, when in actuality they don't really do much to actually support those people. It's more about making money off of them than it is genuinely helping them. Now, I really just want these things, or like these people that say they're all about these movements and helping these people, to actually have money and resources going to help these people of these different backgrounds, not to accumulate or generate profits for certain groups of people under the guise of helping them. That's just abusing them and using them. But that's enough about what I think. What do you guys think? What do you think about all this stuff going on with the Biden administration and U.S. powers handing over all this freaking power and control over to an unelected group or entity of people that we didn't elect? Do you think that they really should have this power? And is it really going to do anything good, especially when they're all about centralization of power? Do you think it'll turn out really good if they do? Let us know in the comments section down below. As usual, thank you so much to all 123 badass motherfuckers of this YouTube tribe. I do appreciate you guys very much. And, you know, always means a lot for you guys to come here and watch these videos and put any of your time into this. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help us, you guys, whenever you do this. Helps us to get further up in that algorithm and spread this info out to other people, so that way they can learn what's going on in the world and not being covered by the mainstream media so much. So that way they know that it's okay to question these systems that we're a part of and what they're doing with all this power that we give them to help us. And also that they're not crazy for thinking that this is messed up or being against this stuff. It's perfectly normal and natural to question these things and have your own opinions on them. You don't need to just fit in with whatever the mainstream says and the government tells you to do. That's just not right. Now, if you guys would like a more interactive experience with us, come join us live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on this YouTube channel or on Twitch, Facebook, etc. from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Central Time for more conspiracies like this stuff with actual factual basis, dark humor, good vibes, and a sense of community. We'd always love to have more people in there chatting up with us, maybe join us for some Pokemon Unite and just being goofy and enjoying those vibes with us, you know. But nonetheless, I do appreciate you guys very much for being here. Thank you. And until next time, though, my dudes, please don't forget to live long and prosper, take care and peace, keep it 1,000,000% real, and remember, Fuck the system. I will see you guys on the flip side. You.